When I decided to buy Miko Sushi, especially the price they were asking, my family and my friend thought I was crazy. The restaurant was not doing well, but my heart was set. And I knew the restaurant did really well when I used to work there as a waitress. I was very confident that I can turn the restaurant around. I thought I could do it. I like sushi myself. We grew up with it, and I wanted to create that kind of environment. Local people come in with a quality food at fair price to customers. I came to America when I was about 20 years old, and that's where I was introduced to restaurant business. Setting up a restaurant is not easy. We failed the business. We were in debt. That's why I decided to study accounting. While going through school and being a single mother, it was very difficult. And as a foreigner, English is my second language. I actually started working at a restaurant called Miko Japanese Cuisine, and it allowed me to make enough income to support myself and my children. And of course, later, who would have thought that I would be owning that business? Here I am. Now I have 3 locations called Miko Sushi. Without the SBA loan, I could not have a 3 restaurant. I got very lucky actually. Through this process, I was introduced to Eric with Bank of America.
What I love about Mia's attitude about her business is the fact that year over year she has new visions, new plans to continue growing. She is dedicated to her employees. She is dedicated to her community. The more I learn about her and her ambition to grow, I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to help her achieve that dream.
Really, what Mia is doing is exactly the heart and soul of why the SBA program exists. Bank of America really goes out of its way to work with and hire experts to help make sure that there's resources so that small business owners can achieve and realize their dreams.
It was a big investment, but when you believe in yourself, with a strong will, you can achieve it.
Hi, my name is Felina Hansen, and I am the president of the National Association of Women Business Owners San Diego chapter. You are watching the Women-Owned Business of the Year panel release. This award will be presented to a woman who has exemplified success through her business accomplishments and community involvement, despite the many hurdles that she has overcome this past year.
Hello, I'm Amy Rowland. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Pangea Biological, and we founded the company 15 years ago to lead the way towards environmental solutions while balancing real-world construction challenges. And we support our energy and infrastructure clients, which include utility companies, construction companies, engineering firms, with environmental compliance and environmental training, as well as stormwater compliance, constructability reviews, and GIS services for their projects throughout the United States.
Hello, my name is Angel Mason-Broaddus. I'm the president and founder of Puzzle Pieces Marketing. I founded the company in 2009. We are now owned and operated by myself and my wife, Christine Mason-Broaddus. We work primarily with mission-driven businesses and nonprofits, and we provide services in the areas of digital marketing, creative and graphic design, and strategic marketing and public relations. Again, we work with mission-driven businesses and nonprofits because I was always taught you don't live on this earth for free. The price you pay is to give back to your community. And by supporting the mission of our nonprofit clients, we're able to do that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Walpole, co-founder and CEO of Trials AI. We're on a mission to get treatments to patients faster. So we're developing web-based smart protocol technology. The goal there is to leverage artificial intelligence to help pharmaceutical companies speed time to market by automating and adding intelligence to clinical trial design.
Good afternoon. I'm Clara Carter, and I am the president and founder of Women in Tourism and Hospitality and the Multicultural Convention Services Network.
Hi, I'm Dawn Berry. I'm the president and co-founder of Luna, and I'm the proud mom of 2 daughters. So at Luna, the technology was built to bridge communities and researchers. So when we think about communities, we think of everything from patient advocacy groups to geographic groups, to special interest groups, to communities of faith. any groups that come together as a collective to solve a problem, to answer a question, to really extract the full potential of an opportunity. And to do that through proper data sharing that allows those communities to do their own research, but to invite researchers to the data to help them answer questions. So the platform bridges communities and researchers by having privacy protecting, longitudinal, holistic data collection in a way where advocates can speak advocate language and researchers can speak researcher, and the platform just connects the two so that we can really be super data driven in our problem solving, in our advocating, in our building new drugs, new interventions, new therapeutics.
What are your significant accomplishments in the past year?
There have been definitely some great accomplishments over the last year for our business. Pivoting from 100% employee environment, so an in-office environment for a company, to 100% remote office was a bit challenging. But what I find as the greatest accomplishment is our level of engagement with our team actually increased when we made that change to a remote office. And, just as a leader, I had to think about what are the things that we can do to continue to engage our team. That some of our team was office-based, and then we have a lot of field-based folks. And how can we continue to engage them and they continue to get to know each other and spend time with each other? So a couple of accomplishments that I am very proud about is that we instituted a daily tea time, we call it, where we would all get together at 4:00 just to have conversation via Teams. And I would always have talking points, but not necessarily, they wouldn't be needed all the time. And we talk about, famous, I'd always have a famous quote at the end of every one. We talk about maybe a special day, what people did over the weekend. And it kind of, you think about the water cooler talk, that's what tea time was really about, not so much about company business. And then we also, another accomplishment is we added weekly yoga for our team with a doctor of physical therapy, as well as having the doctor of physical therapy do weekly stretching with our team. So this was all done virtually, things that we hadn't done before. And I think it's really kind of been a game changer. We've continued that. So I think we're 16 or 17 months into it. And we've continued with those 3 items and added some others as well.
I will have to echo kind of what Amy said, because we did have an office, and we actually made the decision in the end of 2020 that we would move out of our office because we had been doing all of our work remotely. And what we realized is that we probably won't go back into an office anytime soon, if ever. What we realized is that we are able to work a lot more efficiently and use a lot more of our creativity, because one of the concerns that I had initially with not being able to meet with clients was whether or not it was going to affect our level of customer service and the engagement that we had with our clients, especially when it comes to our work with graphic design, because it was very important for us to be able to see the clients in person, be able to have them have the same experience that we were having with anything that we designed and anything that we had developed, and making sure that they were seeing fonts and colors and having the exact same experience. And so we had to be really creative in how we were able to continue to engage with them and making sure that they were having the same level of customer service that we had in the past. So that was one of the things that was a concern to me when we had to move to completely remote. I haven't seen anybody on my team in the last year and a half face to face. But again, we realized that we were able to use our time much more efficiently, and we were able to expand on our creativity, because now people can work in their own environment, they can work at their own time and their own pace, and they're not confined in the walls of our office, being able to create and do the work that they had done in the past. So what we've realized is that we're able to be a lot more creative, and are able to put out product that we think is much more outside of the box than what we had typically had presented in the past. So it's actually worked really well for us. There have been projects, like I said, we work primarily with mission-driven business and nonprofits. So we're very happy with all the clients that we get to work with. We get to handpick all of them as well. But some of the projects that we've worked on are websites for clients that do immigration work. So obviously this is something that has been really in the forefront in the last year with some of the immigration challenges that have happened. So being able to support those clients and being able to make sure that they're in front of those people that need that work and be able to support that mission is something that was really important to us. So that's one of the biggest projects that we are very proud of, is some of the work that we've done with 2 of our immigration law firms, and they both do pro bono work. So again, we're offering a service to our community that they wouldn't necessarily have if it weren't for those clients that we're able to support.
It's exciting to hear these stories that these other ladies are sharing. So thanks for doing this. When we're thinking about, the most, significant accomplishment of the past year, we've had a few. I think the most for me when I'm starting to think through things was that we selected as a distinguished submission of what's called the Transcelerate Study Design Challenge, which makes no sense and nobody cares about unless you're in my space. And then, in which case you're like, okay, this is an awesome thing. It's basically a huge deal because a lot of companies, spend an enormous amount of time and energy working to validate product market fit. And Transcelerate is a consortium of big pharma companies across the world. So we basically had our target customers all in one place, which is fantastic. And the fact that they, were actively working together to solve real problems in clinical trials, that they're actively seeking a solution for clinical trial protocol design, really allowed us to kind of both validate the need and our approach, which was super exciting, saved us a ton of time and money. Timing couldn't have been better. Also, we've been engaging with a few of the largest pharma companies in the world, which is always super exciting. You're like, we're a little tiny, person or a little tiny group over here in San Diego. And yet we, have this really incredible broad reach, which I'm super stoked about. One example I can talk a little bit about without giving, too much away here is, the biggest of the big pharma companies are working with them. We've teamed up with them basically to ensure that our smart protocol technology works well in the real world. So it's like, okay, we built this stuff out and we're working really hard as a team, but we want to make sure that it fits in, the real world and the workflow of our customers, which is big enterprise customers. So I think for me, it's been just validation over the last year. We've got quite a few other big pharma companies that are reaching out. So we've, I guess we can talk a little bit about, what are those weird challenges, obstacles, as we continue the conversation. But yeah, those are two of the big ones.
Within the last year, as an industry leader for travel and tourism, I'm a business owner and educator and a cheerleader for the city of San Diego. I have been consistently seeking ways to stay engaged with other industry professionals by sharing information. So during COVID, our first conference that we were about to launch got shut down 1 week before. And so despite all of that, what I decided to do is, to get myself really engaged in technology. And something that has constantly been a challenge for me, but I decided let me, get myself acclimated with Zoom. So I created a platform for C-suite executives in the hospitality and tourism arena. And I invited all of the people all of our attendees who had paid to attend the conference, and decided that I would do something called Where Do We Go From Here? And with that, they get a behind the scenes look and speaking with the C-suites from these various sectors of tourism in the city of San Diego. And we had a conversation. And the conversation was simply, what were you doing before COVID? What are you doing now? And what can we expect when the doors open for our visitors to resume business? That went over extremely well. And because of that, I actually got an award for this particular trailblazing, creative program that I put together from Meetingsnet magazine. But with that being said, I went on and the program still was, again, pandemic was still here. We launched again for March 2021. That did not happen. So again, I launched out again. I said, okay, get back into the tech world and now learn webinars. So I learned how to do webinars, and we created an 8 series of webinars, and we took our provided opportunities to our workshop presenters at the conference to come in and speak just about tips and tools that people in the industry that were furloughed and laid off, all these things, and to provide them with information. And that went over very well. We were able to attract 32 states and 7 countries that participated in these webinars. So those are some of the things, just as a little bit about who I am, what I've done. And within that space, I also was nominated into the San Diego History Museum as one of the Black pioneers for tourism for the city of San Diego. So just a little bit about what I've done.
Yeah, thinking about significant accomplishments over the past year, I think we should all just pat ourselves on the back for getting out of the last year. So everybody, congratulate yourself on that significant accomplishment. You know, from a workplace perspective, our company Luna, we hired some great people. We built our platform even stronger than before. We welcomed new advocacy groups, new clients to the platform, and really just continued on our mission and vision for more people-centered research. And in any other year, that would have been a great accomplishment. But with such a challenging year last year, you know, that was a really excellent accomplishment. So I'm so proud of the team for that extra effort. You know, on my board work, the companies that I'm on the boards of also did a really great job. So I'm on the board of Cardea Bio, and they are really reimagining research to link directly with life. No extra chemistry, no extra sample prep. Imagine being able to just study biology directly. And what I'm most excited about there is how many new scientists and how many new applications will open up as a result of really reimagining how that science gets done. I'm also on the board of the Alzheimer's Association. And as you can imagine, in such a challenging year, we were delighted to hit our goals of raising awareness, advocating for research, and fundraising, especially given that the year was extremely challenging for patients as well as their caregivers. So achieving our goals in such a challenging year was nothing short of fantastic and inspiring. And then Girl Scouts. I'm a Girl Scouts troop treasurer. You know, we kept the band together, we got our cookie sales done, and we come out of the year strong and ready to keep supporting our girls. And lastly, just from a kid's perspective, because so many people out there are parents, you know, we all hustled really hard to keep our kids' emotional well-being and their learning on track. And I'm just happy for my girls as well as the parents who helped really come together to support our kids in such a strange and awkward and uncertain time. So I'm very proud of those accomplishments in such a challenging year.
So coming back over to you, Amy, for that obstacles question, and I feel like this is part of the answer to everything we have. Like, how do we get through the last 16 months? So anything else to talk about there?
Talk a little bit about, you know, some obstacles or challenges just with our environment and what we do. You know, our field teams are there to support energy projects by having boots on the ground. And basically, you know, our goal as a company is to keep our clients out of environmental jail. So environmental practices and safety is a top priority of our company. And so with COVID and the change and how that affected businesses, you know, we really needed to ensure that our team in the field was safe, both physically and mentally, as we thought about how to deal with COVID. And I think with the changes in how COVID was going and the differences, the new regulations, the requirements from clients, the requirements from the state, the federal government, the CDC, being able to kind of stay on our toes as it relates to that was, I think, really important. And you know, for a company where normally we would have a couple people in our fleet of vehicles at the same time, when COVID came, we needed to make sure that we only had one employee in our vehicle at all times. So we moved all the vehicles to each of their houses. Clients no longer could ride in the vehicles, and just making sure that our team really had all the safety supplies they needed in the field, and making sure that they were comfortable working with the, you know, with the COVID practices, and that they were able to make changes on a daily basis. And also, I think doing daily self-safety assessments was a big thing. You know, normally if you wake up in the morning and you have a sniffle, you would think, I'm fine. But during COVID, what does the sniffle mean? Does that mean I can't go to work today? Is this one of the things that's going to prevent me from going? So, just trying to navigate all of those requirements and make sure that we were on top of them, I think has been a big challenge.
Oh, well, where do I start? So for us in working with nonprofits, part of the challenge that we have is having to be able to appeal to an audience that would never benefit from the services that our clients offer. So for instance, we have to be able to speak to donors and funders and volunteers who may not ever need the services that our clients offer, but they need to be inspired enough to support the organization or to, dig into their pockets and to donate to the organization. And so the best way for us to do that in the past was via storytelling, making sure that we were able to tell those client stories, getting client testimonials, volunteer testimonials, so that people understood the importance of the work that they did. They understood the impact that these clients were making, and they could actually see real firsthand experiences that other people had had and the benefit that they got from the services that our clients offered. Well, during COVID, that was a challenge for us because obviously in the past, we were able to go to our clients' programs and be able to visit and be able to do interviews with program participants and take pictures and videos. And throughout COVID, we just have not had the opportunity or been able to do any of that. So the challenge that we're having is being able to tell those stories in an authentic way and not relying very heavily on our clients who are paying us to do that work for us, because they're still at the programs, they're still having firsthand interaction with those program participants and asking them to record video or to take pictures or to get testimonials when that's not really that's not their strength. They are running programs, they are delivering services, and we're asking them to do things that we should be doing for them, but we can't do it safely. So that has been a very big challenge for us, and being able to get our clients to understand the importance of, while they're doing their job, which is obviously very important, being able to take snippets of things that they've heard from clients and even jot notes without doing a formal interview or without taking pictures, or trying to get them to understand how to take pictures in a way that we can use and some of our marketing materials. So those are things that we've really had to try to overcome and really work very heavily with our clients for them to understand that we know that is our job and that we should be doing that. But in order for us to be successful in helping them, that they're really going to have to be able to give us what we need to be successful in, this partnership. So those are things that we've really had to overcome and challenges that we've had to face throughout this pandemic.
So obstacles, I think, I echo what everyone said so far. There have been many, and I think that that's just part of the nature of building a company, to begin with. So we actually pivoted the company going into 2019, same space, solving a different problem. And so we were building product from scratch, and what we're building isn't an easy product to build. It requires a ton of expertise, both in tech and clinical trials. So it wasn't a quick or simple build. So in comes COVID with 2020. And, we ended up talking with our investors, and we're getting advice around scaling the team way back to extend our runway. Super hard. They wanted us to go lean because we just didn't know what the future was going to hold. It was sage advice from seasoned veterans, so I'm really thankful that we had those folks there. But it was really hard to pare down the team because we had all of this momentum going at the time. We had potential customers that were excited to see what we were building. We went from 12 down to 6, and it really just slowed us down. We were like, okay, we don't know what's coming, but, we're going to prepare for it. The good news is that, we have maintained a ton of interest from customers. And, it's kind of nice to be able to say, okay, you're in a holding, we're going to take people on as we can take them. And you guys are going to have to hold. It creates a little FOMO there, which is nice. I think the challenge there, right, is that in order to execute, we need to continue to grow the team. And it's funny, as I talk to people, they're like, that's a great problem to have. But I think, as a founder, you're always like, no, I don't think so. So for me, it's like, no, I'm thrilled that, we've got folks that are super excited about it, but I'm also just wanting to push forward and go as quickly as we possibly can. So certainly have had to overcome those obstacles. We're back up to 8 now and expecting to, raise a new round of funding here in the next month or two, and then continue to grow the team.
Back to tourism. So some of the obstacles or challenges that those obstacles that we've had to endure, has been the restart of putting on this conference. And one of the main challenges, oh my gosh, that was really something that no one could have foreseen, is that we had to look at other ways in which we could find funding. So during COVID, once again, I started a 501c3, my nonprofit arm to my business, because in the past, we have had no problem having support from our industry suppliers and vendors, right? But the whole city was shut down. So it's like, what do you do? Something, again, that we've never, ever seen happen before. So it just shifted you into a whole nother gear. And as an entrepreneur, you're sitting there saying, okay, you know what am I supposed to be doing right now? What am I supposed to be doing? And there was really, I had no time to just sit and just think about it. It was like, get into gear, Clara, and get something going. So what I did is I started the nonprofit. I then started looking at other funding sources that were out there, that were available, that wanted to support tourism. And that really helped to save us and keep us going. Then had to also, as many of you, had to look into all of these other additional funding sources that were available to us as entrepreneurs. Because again, I had to hire and rehire and hire and rehire, something that I never, ever thought. So my budget that started off being this amount was stretched out to be this amount. I had to hire like 3 times over what my budget was allocated for. So it was really a challenge in terms of managing all of these different people. And I then started, I had people on the team that were outside of the state. So now we're, because now technology is connecting us, right, globally. So I was able to manage that, and those were pretty much like my largest challenges that I could tell you, is just the restart and the start, and getting that 501c3 going was, that was more than a notion, and still finding my way through that. But putting into that particular 501c3, the programs that we had already been doing, which was now on our scholarship programs, now we can roll that into that, our educational programs, and then which helped us, which I know is another question, but helped us to now be able to diversify tourism, for the city of San Diego. So those are some of the things that we're currently working on. And again, challenges is still moving forward, with hoping that that reset button is going to stay for September the 23rd and 24th.
Boy, on the obstacles front, this could definitely take a while, but let's be sort of brief. I think we don't have to say that COVID really took a toll on lots of things, including working parents. And there's no need to go into it. Everybody's probably got that story. But as we think about the logistics of going to work and showing up for work in our full selves with our full potential, we all had to also manage not only the learning of our kids, but our emotional well-being of our kids as they missed sports, missed friends, stayed home, et cetera. And I think as working parents, that was particularly challenging, as we really had 2 and 3 jobs at that time. And I don't know how single parents did it. I mean, hats off to the single parents who made it through okay. I would say, just more from a corporate perspective, going remote was initially fun, novel. And then it was, well, we really miss each other. And then when is it going to end? And now we've really got to think of a new normal. But on the bright side of that, we're busy thinking about re-implementing our workplace concept with a hybrid environment that I think a lot of companies are very excited about. But certainly that was an obstacle, as well as in product development. When you develop products, you ideate, you build, you launch, you listen, you revise, and you continuously explore that continuous learning cycle in product development. And when the world is so strange, it's not clear what you're listening to, and is this temporary, is this permanent? But again, as I said earlier, the team really kept their head down. But that was very, very challenging when the communities you're working for and the researchers you're looking to bridge with, when everybody doesn't know what their world was like and you're in a small company environment, it gets particularly challenging. But again, we marched towards our vision. We made it work. We came across, very well as families, as companies, et cetera. So we made it out.
How do you foster diversity and inclusion within your company?
Well, that is a hot topic for sure, and it really is so important for all of us. And as a woman business owner, my desire is really to continue to foster the growth of individuals with diversity. And so both recruiting for our organization, it is really important that we have a diverse organization, because I think it's really helpful for creativity and innovation. And I just think diverse minds really lead to people's growth. And I think that's good for everybody. In addition, we are, a prime supplier for a large utility, and we do not necessarily have a responsibility to have additional diverse businesses working for us because we already meet that objective for them. But we're really proud to say that 40% of our suppliers are diverse businesses, and that's by choice. That is when we seek out support, when we need additional horsepower to support our company for whether external or internal projects, or projects that will help us continue to scale as a company. We seek companies that are socially responsible, that cared about diversity, that is one of their initiatives. And so, because we all know today, talking about it, that really diversity is what it is about. And if we are not promoting that message and also living it, then we're not doing right by what our diverse society is. So it's really important to me, both internally and externally. We are in primarily male dominated, right? Because we work, with construction, and I think what's important is, and this has just been my belief in starting the company and before that, is whenever I'm seeking to do business with another company, whether they're going to be a client or we're going to be a client of theirs, I think it's really important that we go in on what the value is that we bring, and not the fact that we're a diverse business. That is just kind of the extra, the fact that we are a woman-owned business and we are a small business. But I think entering the playing field on our capabilities rather than our diversity is really kind of one of the things that I live by. And if you do that, I think the level of respect and the level of conversation and engagement with clients or other people, I find it to be different.
So obviously diversity is something that's very important to me. I guess I shouldn't say obviously, but if you've seen me, I think that it's pretty obvious that it's something that's important to me. I'm a Black female business owner, member of the LGBTQ community, disabled veteran. So it's obviously very important to me, both personally and professionally. It's a question that I ask with clients that we work with. It's a question that I ask whenever I'm asked to sit on another board. Are they picking me because they have a level of diversity and inclusion that they need to check a box? But I sit on several boards. I sit on their subcommittees for diversity and inclusion. So it's something that's very important to me. One of the things, though, that I struggle with from a personal and professional perspective is that part of diversity doesn't mean just what you look like, obviously, because that's something that we always are aware of, is ethnic background or race, their racial background. But it's also, are you hiring people that have learning disabilities? Are you hiring people that have other types of disabilities that aren't visible? So those are things that are also important to making sure that your team is diverse. And the other thing that I really struggle with is when you are hiring or when you are looking to partner with an organization, are you interested in partnering with that organization because you are trying to check a box? And that, again, is a question that we ask, is how many other organizations have you spoken to, and what is the makeup of those organizations? Because that allows us to determine if they're only wanting to work with minority-owned businesses because they have to check a box, or are they wanting to work with us because they've seen the body of work that we've done and they know that we're capable of doing the work? And there have been clients that we've turned down because we don't want them to work with us just because they've checked a box. I don't want to take money from someone just because they want to work with us, and not because they feel like we can do the job, but because they have a quota that they have to fill. So it's a big concern for me. One of the things that we also talk about internally is having difficult conversations. You can't have a diverse team and you can't expand on the knowledge that you have about other heritages or ethnic backgrounds if you're not willing to have difficult conversations. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm willing to sit down and have a very open and honest conversation with anybody about race, about sexual orientation, because I feel like there's so much opportunity for us to break down these stereotypes, but we have to be able to have those difficult conversations in order to do so. So I am more than willing and more than open to having those. And I wish that more people were, as opposed to being afraid to broach the subject and feeling like they're going to step on toes. You're going to step on toes if you don't understand what the other person's perspective is. So you have to have the conversation. So it's something that we talk about internally quite often, obviously, and it's a conversation that we have, like I said, with the boards that I sit on, with the clients that we have, and I'm just very candid and open and honest about it. So I think that that allows us to be more open and more honest. And then the last thing that I just want to touch on is that we try very hard to make sure that not only our client, but our team, when you look at us and when you read our backgrounds, that we are representing the diversity that we say is important to us. Because whenever we have a client that works with us, or if there is someone that wants me to sit on a board, first thing I do is I go and I look at their clients. I go and look at their management team. I go and look at who are members of the organization. And if none of them look like they come from any other place other than here, San Diego, then they're not walking the walk. So that's very important to me, is to make sure that your organization represents the diversity that you say is important to you.
This is an important discussion. I think you've heard some really good things so far. We've always sought to surround ourselves with incredible talent. And we really recognize that a diverse workforce allows us to better, develop better product, see our customers through different lenses. Some of our best investors are women who keep their ears to the ground. They are the most amazing. And they give us incredible, valuable industry intel. So I'm always smiling about that. Another one, constantly kicks my butt and asks the really hard questions. One is focused specifically on elevating voices of minorities. And, certainly as a female Latina, I am super appreciative of that. And then, as far as our team goes, on our journey, we basically welcomed strong women onto our team. I think that's really important to me. It's interesting, I think, along this journey, and maybe kind of stepping back here, one of the things that, I've seen is that women don't always lift one another up. I think sometimes we're trying so hard, to kind of keep our head above the water, that I've made it, kind of a priority to step back and go, okay, how can I help other women, as they're moving forward? And so, we're getting ready to open a new round of funding. We're going to be bringing in some more talent to help execute. In the meantime, we've recently brought on a ridiculously smart machine learning specialist, and she's focused on building really exciting algorithms to measure patient burden. And I think for me, I'm just super determined to build a culture where people of all backgrounds aren't just represented from a diversity perspective, but would actually feel included. I want them included in the lifeblood of the company and the decision-making of the company. And don't get me wrong, representation super matters, but I think the logical next step is inclusion. So I think, last, maybe that's really important to me from a product perspective as we build out the company, is that we think it's really important to build our technology to enable research teams to design clinical trials that enable inclusion and diversity. And this has been a hot topic, a major problem historically. And so part of our R&D efforts are focused on this area.
This is a great conversation, and it has been a hot topic throughout, even more so throughout COVID. A lot of things have happened, world changes and things that have made us all kind of like stop in our tracks. But again, like Angel and Kim, Well, I'm a woman of color, first and foremost, Black woman, entrepreneur, and diversity comes really is near and dear to my heart, because that's who I am. And that's how I was raised in terms of, looking at each person as equal, as opposed to looking for flaws in a person. And it's one of the reasons why I was encouraged to start my first business, which is the Multicultural Convention Services Network, to provide more diversity in meetings and tourism for the city of San Diego. I saw when I first started years ago that we were lacking in the city of San Diego was lacking in bringing in these diverse organizations to have meetings. And my mind went to, why are we not having them when we're the top destination in the world and everyone wants to come to the city? Why aren't they not coming? And when I started questioning myself, I decided, you know what, you need to get out here and do a survey and just start talking to people and asking them. And so when I did that, I learned that the reason why is because they didn't have any connection in the city of San Diego for people that really were interested in focusing on what the needs of their particular organization. So that's why I started my first business. And then the second one with the women, we being disproportionately always overlooked in the hospitality and tourism industry and in most industries. This is a male dominated industry as well. I wanted to really make a difference and being more inclusive by looking at, having people to acknowledge that women really are running this city. Okay. And that's one of the things that, if you're not in the industry, most people don't know that. And because I am in the industry, I knew that the women were running this city and that we had our hands on the pulse of everything, but we were always in the background and the men were always in the forefront. So I said, you know what, I'm going to change this. I'm going to make some noise here. I'm going to be a disruptor. Okay. And I look at myself, I am a disruptor. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And when I did that, and it was very important for me to have a very diverse panel of women, not just African Americans, which we already know in San Diego, it's only 5% in the city of San Diego. So I knew that that was not going to be my wherewithal, but I also knew that my reach was outside of San Diego. And I also looked at who my team was, what the makeup of my team is. And that was very important for me to make sure that my team was very diverse, that it made up 99% women. Okay, pretty much 99.9% women. And then, we have some men that we always bring into the fold. But that to me was what really kind of changed the dynamics to be able to have women to tell their stories and to share what challenges that they went through and what helped them to get over these hurdles and what helped them to break through the glass ceilings, and in hopes that it will encourage the next woman that is trying to come in and standing on their shoulders. So that to me has been very near and dear to me. And that's why I'm extremely excited about what's happening with tourism for the city of San Diego as we move forward with the Women in Tourism, and now my nonprofit organization that's focusing on women.
Fostering diversity and inclusion, I think, we as leaders, it really isn't about the policies and the programs and the headcount. I think we talk about that part too much. At its core, in my opinion, is really about understanding an employee's unique needs as an individual and as a professional, and in understanding what they can bring to the workplace and to the products. And then go from that understanding to truly creating relationships and a space where people's voices and experiences are not only heard, but incorporated. And then it comes down to something to me that's very simple. And that is just showing up in a way that fosters those relationships, that creates those environments to listen, and proves those ideas are coming into the operationalization of the company. So to your question, what have we done to foster that? one thing I'm particularly proud of is everyone is an owner in the company. Everybody who's joined the company, no matter when you join, is an owner. And when we succeed together, we'll win together and create value together. So I'm very, very proud of that. Also from day one, everybody had great health benefits. I've worked for big companies, and even though it is expensive in the early stage of a company, we invested in that because it is about the person first. And if they're not healthy, they're not coming to work healthy. So very happy that everybody's an owner, everybody has great health benefits. And then, the little stuff, well, it's not so little, but, we created an employee experience group. And this is a group where people self-nominated, no senior executives are on the team. And their job is to come together and talk about communication, transparency. They will define what our new workspace is going forward, in the hybrid world, to organize little things like happy hours. So they really tell us, what this company needs to be, truly from within, and we listen and we implement those. So that's how we create an environment where everybody's voices mattered, everybody's voice is heard, and everybody's ideas are vetted and implemented. And I would just say, people are attracted to startups, not only because they're probably have a very bold attitude, they like problems, they like building, but they've also come here to grow professionally. And startup is a fantastic challenge that really asks a lot of you intellectually, emotionally, socially, physically at times. I mean, you're not sleeping a lot, right? So you have to foster this diversity and inclusion in a way that you are really understanding the impact of all these challenges on people if you're all going to build together and you're all going to succeed together. Because in startup, everybody's got an oar, everybody's row on the boat, and the waters can get pretty tricky at times. So diversity and inclusion is so important.
We're rounding out here to our fun fact question. As I mentioned, just anything you want to share that maybe not a lot of folks know about you. So Amy, coming over to you.
Well, fun facts. Let's see. I've been a wildlife biologist for 30 years, and I focus on dry and crunchy, not wet and squishy biology. So, and I'm fascinated with snakes. So, but no, really, one of my passions also is guiding and mentoring other women business owners. And, if I can help them avoid any potholes or speed bumps in the road as they navigate their business journey, that really, to me, is a great thing to do. I had wonderful mentors as I started my career. And so if I can offer any of that up to them, I really, really enjoy doing that. And, maybe some nuggets of wisdom that I have might be helpful for them. And if it is, then I think that's great. If it's not, then that's great too. And so in order to kind of outside my business, I'm a formal mentor in the AWI organization for the last couple of years. And I really enjoy working with mentees in STEM. I really enjoy encouraging girls to pursue careers in STEM and the environment and think about that. So I have 2 daughters as well. And I just really think that's important to kind of foster STEM and science.
Okay, fun fact about me. Well, it's fun and funny to other people, but not so much to me. I have a phobia of frogs and lizards, but not snakes. I love snakes. I'll hold snakes. I've played with random people at events who have snakes. But I am deathly afraid of frogs and lizards. I completely walked around an entire resort once to avoid the path of a lizard. It doesn't matter how big they are. It could be this big. I'm still afraid. I will run in the opposite direction. There's probably video of me like hightailing it, dragging my dog because I crossed the path of a lizard. And I can't even look at pictures of them. I tried my own immersion therapy once. I took a picture with the Geico gecko at an event, like the stand-up one, not a real one, like the stand-up one. And that's the furthest I've gotten. I can't hold them, nothing. That was the closest I've gotten. And I barely was able to do that. So I don't know what it is. I keep trying to figure out if there was something in my past that made me afraid of frogs and lizards. And I'm not afraid of alligators. So snakes and alligators, I'm fine with, but frogs and lizards, I will die. Literally, I think I will die if one jumps on me. So that's a not so fun fact about me, but other people find it amusing.
Something not on your LinkedIn profile.
That is not on my LinkedIn profile. And please share it with everybody because I do not want anybody
Yes.
to invite me to anything that has frogs or lizards.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Thank you, Angel.
So something funny, I don't know, fun or funny about me is that I've actually made a citizen's arrest. I pulled a drunk driver over on the Beltway outside of DC, took him to the police department, told them I was making a citizen's arrest. They literally laughed out loud, but they did process him as I was leaving. And my family constantly teases me because I have this like hop into action thing that happens when I see people doing either unsafe, illegal, weird things. I pulled somebody over on the 15 here in San Diego who did a hit and run. I chased down a guy from a grocery store, just crazy. I'm not a vigilante. I'm not trying to be a vigilante. It's an instinctive response. My kids actually gave me a Wonder Woman Mother's Day card one year as a running joke. And yeah, it's a big joke. They're like, no, you don't need to go. I think there are some people here who can handle it. I'm like, okay, I got it. So more normal, fun things about me. I love to laugh, which this has been, good for my soul here. The kind where you like cry and then like the next day you've got a headache. That's the kind I love. Into wake surfing, salsa dancing, singing loud karaoke music, all that good stuff. And then I guess I feel like I should be ending this with like, I love world peace or something like that, but I won't. I'll stop here.
These are all so much fun. Like Angel, I'm going to start with a not so fun, but people think it's funny to them. I have a phobia about mice and rats. So the same phobia that you have about those frogs and those lizards, I'm right up there. All right. Cannot stand them. Will, oh my God. I believe that paramedics one time had to come and take me off my table, my kitchen table. When I was a little girl, I was like terrified. But anyway, that's that particular fact. Don't bring, I don't want to see them. You're bolder than me. I would not even want to take a picture with one. But anyway, the fun fact about me is that I really, really enjoy concerts. I love being out in nature. Music, nature, water is all soothing to my soul. The fun fact that many people don't know about me is I love gardening. I love digging in the dirt. That's like something that just does my heart good. And my husband knows that when I'm out there, do not even think about coming to give me a message. Don't call me. I could be out there for hours. So I really love digging in the dirt and just being out in nature. So, and traveling.
And thinking about a fun fact, I mean, I played sports in college. I think a lot of people know that. I do love to cook. But I guess a more fun recent fact is I've always been a fan of rescue pets. And our house has gotten quite diverse in the last year where a lot of people had to move away. So, our rescue pet lineup includes a big lumbering bulldog, a chicken, a Russian tortoise, 3 guinea pigs, and a betta fish. And believe it or not, they all get along. We have a fenced-in backyard, so it is not an unusual occasion that everybody's out in the same patch of grass, munching the grass, except the betta fish that stays in the bowl. But we've got a really, really funny little house of pets now. I have no idea how we're ever going to take a trip and who would dare babysit our house. But rescue pets have always been our thing. They're wonderful. It feels so good to do that, and we got quite a lineup of pets at our house right now, which is actually pretty hysterical.
Thank you so much for watching our panel release. Please head over to bravaawards.org to vote today.